to Leaders of Tomorrow Season 10. I'm Sunanda Jayaseelan. On the show tonight, we're bringing you part 2 of the Leaders of Tomorrow Town Hall, a series of pan-India conversations that we do to connect better with small businesses such as yourselves. Today, we're putting the spotlight on what this post-pandemic era means for small businesses in Kolkata and in the larger state of West Bengal. We're talking about culture capital and the post-COVID era. Let me quickly introduce my panelists. First up, Saira Salim Shah, educator, writer, activist. Kounteya Sinha, brand guru, founder, Koi Worldwide. Professor Ujjwal Choudhury, strategic advisor, Adamas of Kolkata, and also Daffodil University in Kolkata, Vice President, Global Media Education Council. Saira, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us here this evening to talk about what really makes Kolkata and West Bengal so unique, what lessons entrepreneurs in other states and in the state can really take away when it comes to culture, when it comes to just applying technology, really, as far as some of the traditional industries are concerned. What are those traditional industries like? What are the strengths? What are the opportunities? Before we go any further though, I just perhaps would ask each of our panelists to take 20 seconds to introduce yourselves. Let me come to you first, Saira.
So hello everyone, good evening. My name is Saira Salim and I would like to thank ET Now, Leaders of Tomorrow, for having us over for this wonderful discussion and a very pertinent topic as well. Because post-pandemic, we are in a state of recovery and revival. I will not say that we are at a robust best, but we are a work in progress. So we are definitely looking at new ways of innovating ourselves as far as culture is concerned, as far as tourism is concerned, as far as entrepreneurship is concerned. And all of us, I think, we have been witness to how we've made the transition. Now, talking a little bit about introduction, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so I come from an army background. My father retired as a Lieutenant General in the Indian Army. I was brought up all across India. I completed my post-grad and everything, after marriage. Worked with IT companies and also business development for good 16, 17 years in the field of learning development, training, business development, branding. And I've been active. I write a column for India Today and other sites on policy governance. And I've been regular on the TV panels on different pertinent issues concerning the country. I'm a mom of 2 young girls. Recently, I fought a very high-pitched by-election in Bipole against Babul Supriyo. I emerged second. It was a very close fight between the winner. I defeated 2 major political parties. I defeated the BJP and the Congress. And it was a highly talked about election because Baliganj is the heart of Kolkata. And for me, it was my first electoral run. So that's it, I think, and I look forward to this discussion.
Congratulations on that, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation and being here this evening. Let me come to you next.
My name is Kounteya Sinha. I've been a journalist all my life, but I've lived in Calcutta for my childhood, but I moved out of Calcutta in 2005, and I traveled across 140 countries, worked out of 100, and when I came back and stuff, told a great diaspora story, and then also founded this company called Koi Worldwide, which actually is this incredible travel experiences company that's based on the science of memories. And I use, I brand people and businesses on the basis of the beating heart and not on the basis of what they are selling, because everything that anybody wants to buy comes from the fact that, that how they feel about you as a person and not as a company. So that's who I am.
Professor Choudhury?
Yeah, thank you. I do not pursue a career, I just live life and I accumulate experiences, if I can say that, by the very fact that...
Only a fortunate few can say that.
By the very fact that I have in my 30 years of working life, have more than 14 jobs and more than 50 projects. That means on an average 2 years per job. So I had been with Symbiosis as its dean, with Whistling Woods as its dean, with Pearl Academy as its dean. I was the Pro-Vice Chancellor of Adamas University. I've worked in 6 countries and within India in 7 states. Visited 36 countries. Worked first as a journalist. That's how he also started his life. That's how I knew him first in Times of India. So worked first as a journalist and then moved on to media education. So between practice and academics, I've been moving between the two. I run a school in my mother's name, free of cost, in the Sundarbans of Bengal. And apart from that, I just now work as a strategic advisor to universities, one in Bangladesh, the largest private sector university, Daffodil International University, with around 27,000 students, and Adamas University in Barasat, which has around 5,000-6,000 students. That's all.
Welcome, Professor, and thank you so much for your time this evening. So let's perhaps start by talking about the theme that we're working with today on today's panel, and that's really the intersection between culture and capital, and what, in your opinion, and what this panel really feels makes Kolkata so unique. Can I come to you first, Professor? What do you think?
Because I have more grey.
There's a wealth of experience on this panel, and I'm quite excited to get started. What do you think makes this city and the state so unique when it comes to this intersection, really?
Undoubtedly, culture is a big area. Currently, even expansion of education is happening. Technology expansion is happening. Food and heritage, that he is an expert on, is also another big area. And the status of women is stronger than many other parts of the country. I think she is an expert on that. But I would like to tell something very historical context. When the British government took over Bengal some 150 years ago, Calcutta, Bengal as a whole, but I'm talking specifically to Calcutta. It was around 48 square kilometer area. And Rajbihari Avenue was the end. That area was the end. Today, Joka is the end on one side, Garia is the end on the other side. So you are Calcuttans, you know. So the population was something around, at the time, 2 lakhs, a little less than 2 lakhs. Now it's around 55, 60 lakhs in the proper Calcutta, the corporation area, and 60 lakhs people traveling every day for work. It's more than 1 crore of people using the city. So, the amenities built up at that time was for a certain audience, a certain number, and the numbers have gone berserk. So we'll have to understand these challenges, physical challenges, when we talk further. I also would like to draw your attention that this is the 3rd richest city after Mumbai and Delhi, and $152 billion was the turnover of Calcutta, and the greater Calcutta, in fact, in 2021. 152 billion, just to understand, 260 billion is Bengal's, 152 is Calcutta's. And just to also understand, because Bengal is a partition Bengal, 32 crores of Bengalis are partitioned between Bangladesh and West Bengal. So Bangladesh is $427 billion turnover last year. As against that, we have a long way to go. That's all.
Okay. I want to also talk about technology, really, and just dive right into technology, because that plays such a crucial role when it comes to any sort of growth that we're seeing, and we're talking in this post-pandemic scenario. Perhaps I would come to you first on this side and really talk about how technology is changing those for the better, of course, and let's talk about the positives first. Those who are involved in, let's say, education, art, culture, and they've really been able to, have they really been able to embrace the changes that technology is in some sense forcing upon them?
Sure. So that's a good question. For the entire 2 years, we've seen this transition happening, especially in the field of education, and we were all skeptical. How is it going to work out? How are the children going to learn? Because my daughter at that time was really young. She was about 9 years old when this transition takes place. And that's a very pivotal time. You know, when children are growing up, they're not seeing their classmates, they're not meeting their teachers. And in the sense, it's a very lackadaisical kind of energy levels also start dipping, because you come half dressed, I'll be honest with you, because most of the kids that you saw were not wearing the shoes and socks, or rather, whatever was accessible online. But then what a lot of young mothers did, what I did is I put her into a lot of physical activities. We created our own kind of a bio bubble where they could play games and gymnastics. And of course, I ensured that my daughter learns Kathak online. So I would have sent her to a real class, an offline class, because we didn't have much of a choice. So a lot of mothers like me, we had a very challenging role. So what we did is we wanted to ensure that it did not really impact the children educationally. So we had to make do with whatever we had at hand, and that is transitioning them into educating themselves online. So a lot of tutorials were being held online. Dance classes were being held online. They learned new skills, cooking, sports, whole gamut of activities was happening online.
I'll take a quick break on that note. We're back in just a moment. Just stay tuned. Welcome back with us here in Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight you're watching the Leaders of Tomorrow Town Hall edition in Kolkata. Since we're talking about the pandemic, your firm started because during the pandemic, which was called a crazy idea at that point, I understand?
Yeah, because
you're a travel company during COVID.
So the travel company that I started is a travel experiences company. It's not a travel agent. So basically, it was a lockdown child. It is called Koi Worldwide. And if you ever go to Instagram, you follow it on koi.worldwide. And what we realized when we were actually going through the pandemic was, if we looked at the social media, everybody, for example, every person in the social media was talking about where they wanted to be at that time or where they wanted to go when the pandemic is over. So, when we founded Koi Worldwide, we actually, again, focused on the beating heart. We focused on the fact that, that for now, time, for the first time, was going to become precious for people. They started valuing their life. They started valuing movement. And, and how do you change the way they feel about their lives? How do they change the way they look at their own families? So, we started actually this company where, we actually started taking top-class photographers, some of them who work for the National Geographic and stuff, who actually travel with you all throughout. And then, the experiences that you do are experiences off the map. That is, when you come back from Kashmir or Ladakh or anywhere else and stuff like that, the things you do are not things that your friends or families have done before. So when you're coming back and you're talking about that, they're like, oh my God, I haven't done that. So again, that state of feeling. And then do you know that the team actually photographs you all through the trip and then edits it and stuff. And at the end of that trip, you get, like, we promise you 550 photographs, like, high definition edited. We give them 700, each one and stuff, on the last day, and we work round the clock. So it's again on the fact that, what is the importance of your memory? When you do businesses and stuff like that, right? A lot of people would say that don't do this, is not the right time. It is always the right time if you're doing it for the right reason. And you're trying to reach out to the right people and changing the way they feel about their own lives with the products you bring on the market.
Sure. And was being based in a city like Kolkata, did that make a difference at all to your business and model?
The fact is this, that, one great thing about Calcutta is that it talks, right? And the fact that, we're very emotional as people, and we're also very clannish. So, what happens is this, that, if you look at our generations and stuff like that, we always like reading the same newspaper or eating the same food from the same place. So all of us, our parents, us, have all these particular things that we keep doing. Like Bhavesh was saying, that Calcutta's, entire thing has changed. It has changed, like, you can't recognize Calcutta like it used to be in 80s and 90s. Why? Because most of the companies and stuff like that are familial companies. They're based on families rather than really large conglomerations. So, it is based on values, it's based on emotion, it's based on feeling, and all of them together. So the point is this, that, never listen to what people say. If you're doing it for the right reasons, everybody traveled from Calcutta. We did 14 trips in 7 months after lockdown, with 464 people traveling with us, from Mahatma Gandhi's great grandson to the chairman of Future, I think, to the owner of Greenply. To everybody traveled.
Fantastic. Any questions from the audience? Maybe
Before you take a
Sure,
question,
sure,
can
go
I just have a little continuation of what they've said, particularly in technology front? This example of KOI Worldwide is a classic example of something I was taught in my school, Ramakrishna Mission, Arunachal Pradesh, that taught that the lesson that I had, turn your disadvantage into advantage. There is always a way to do that. COVID closed us. They opened it in a different way and turned a disadvantage into advantage with a lot of passion and a bit of technology. Passion, their view, the power of imagination, that is experiential, and also using technology. So that is something that we need to really bring it at a larger mass scale. Technologically, the personal experiences she has told very well. There are two things I find. One, the good side of the story.
Yeah.
The good side of the story, there are several good technological startups which have started, not just during the pandemic, just before and during, and they've grown during the pandemic also, with Lab Cafe or Sow's Nest. Crow's Nest, I remember. Crow's Nest started as a local digital ad agency, the first one. During pandemic, taken over by Madison's.
Sure.
It started with a couple of lakhs, taken over with few crores. Then there is ethical hacking. Sandeep Sengupta is very well known here from Calcutta. Fabulous work that he is doing. And Tax Mantra, fabulous work. Notebook, Utopia from Anandabajar, the Byju's in Bangla, the work that Byju's does in Bangla. So these were all initiatives in this period. On the other hand, the problem is large number of MSMEs are still a little scared to use E-CRM or ERP. And they're at a very rudimentary stage. So integrating, even people are not, Paytm is common, but then Google Pay and others still not so common. So that's another side of the story. While startups are coming up, good story, good promises. Some examples I've given, not going further on that. On the other, for example, educational institutions, not developing their own customized LMS, learning management systems. One university has taken up Canvas, which is popular in US. Someone is taken up, Amity has its own Amazon, that's their customized. But most universities have not developed their own customized.
And I want to do a deep dive into some of these industries that are doing well and why others are not. Any questions from any of you in the audience? Please do raise your hand. We'll have a mic that comes to you.
The question to you would be, you said about KOI Worldwide, am I right? How many people do you have using this product outside this city, or for that matter, this country?
We have a lot of people actually who've come from outside Calcutta. It started from Calcutta and stuff like that, and our first trip was from family and friends who found us and banked on us. And do you know that our greatest gift is also our curse? Because what happens is this, that that almost 84% of people who go on our next trip are the one who's just leaving the airport on the previous one. So they ask you, they're so mesmerized that they say, when is the next trip, Kounteya? And I say, when do you want to go? And that's how it's decided. So even before we announced that trip, it's gone and stuff like that. And everybody who's traveled, almost 90% are people who are repeat travelers and women. In this country, there's a massive trend of single women traveling, or wives and people, husbands could be busy, or families. And 90% of the people who've traveled with us today are all women from Bangalore, Chennai, outside and stuff like that. And so many of us from US and England are messaging saying, can we come, can we join and stuff like that. So, we want to tell that story, we want to say it differently, and we also want you to feel differently about the way you feel, you look, and how you experience the world. So because next time when you actually have a lockdown, if you ever do, because it's a reality, it's become a reality, and it might be a reality sometime in the future, for some different reason, you will have this incredible new set of memories that you will look at because of the travels that you did, and not the ones which are old.
Any other questions, perhaps from this side? Yeah, there's a question right at the back.
Early starting in the engineering sector, we have made a company, but problem lies, qualification criteria and the experience, because just we have formed a company and no one is like to give us any work because of we don't have 3 years experience, 5 years experience. That there we are really suffering. I'm talking from on behalf of Sahare company.
I'll tell you something. When I was studying in a boarding school, if you look at it, your percentage or whatever, whatever baggage that was in the past, it really doesn't count in the long run. Because the people who used to ace and mug up, and who used to come get 95, 96%, I'm not trying to demean any profession or whatever. I mean, they have turned out to be pretty average. And, there's a term called law of averages. The people who were pretty average, but who were all-rounders, they have somehow found their moment in the sun later on. So do not get dismayed or do not feel despondent of anything that is lacking, because end of the day, what really counts is like looking forward, not backward. I think that is how we should look at it. Your grades in school, how much money you had, whatever it is, any baggage, it really doesn't count. That is my personal perspective.
Sure. Thank you so much to the three of you. I know there's so much more to discuss, but we've run out of time. A round of applause for our panelists. Thank you very much. Out of time on tonight's conversation. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. Our contact details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.